Hello, everyone, and welcome to Facebook Live with the Well. I am Jason Steffenhagen, the Associate Minister, and today joining me is Catie Levnick, our Children, Family, and Youth Director. Catie, how you doing?
I am so good. I'm so excited to be doing this today. Jason and
Yes.
Catie take over.
The takeover, yes. So some of you may be wondering, well, where is Pastor Sherry? Well, Pastor Sherry is just having a little bit of a slower morning, kind of woke up with a little bit of a migraine, and so it's a busy time at the Well. As many of you know, Advent season has been rocking and rolling. We've been doing a lot of different services. Last night was a particularly meaningful service at the Well where we celebrated those that have kind of passed on before us, with the longest night service. And so a very beautiful service and a night to remember and commemorate the people that we've lost this past year. And so we are very grateful for Pastor Sherry and her leadership as she provided space for people to grieve and to just recognize that this Christmas may have a new rhythm to it and just be a different Christmas than Christmases past. And so we also know that we got a busy week coming up, which we'll talk about more. And so rest is key. And when you can find moments of it and when you need moments of it, we are obviously a team that encourages people to take it. And so, Pastor Sherry, our prayers and our hearts are with you. And so we hope that you're resting and not watching Facebook Live this morning. But the rest of you, you better be watching because it's about to get real and it's about to get fun. Because Catie and I thought that it might be fun to do a little Christmas themed Facebook Live. So I've got a few questions for Catie. Katie's got some questions for me. And we're just going to kind of see how this goes. So I've got a favorite things list. I got 7 favorite things. Because, you know, 7's the number of perfection in the Bible. So we have to end with that. I mean, we can't go beyond 7. There is no such thing as counting to 10. You have to only count to 7 in the Bible, or 40, apparently. You can count to 40 or 7 or 3. Those are the only numbers that you can use. So we're going to go with 7. So I got 7 favorite things to ask Catie. And here's what I would like everybody watching this either now or later on to do. Type some of your favorite things into the comment section. We'd love to hear what are your answers to some of these questions. So if one of these questions pops for you, then go ahead and write a comment about, oh, this is my favorite thing, or this is my favorite, Christmas movie, or whatever it is. If you want to answer all 7, like, go for it. That'd be so fun to see what are other people's lists of 7. So first question for you, Catie.
Let's do it.
Do you have a favorite Christmas dessert?
Oh, gosh. Favorite Christmas dessert would be, okay, I have to say this, otherwise I might get kicked out as a Levenick, but there is a family tradition in the Levenick house called cherries in the snow, and it's like, I don't know how to make it, but it's like cheesecake on the bottom, and then like something white and yummy, and then there's cherries, but like they have it at every Levenick gathering, and so I'm pretty sure like that's actually why I became a Levenick, was because of this dessert. Nobody tell Brad that, but yeah.
I mean, sometimes we're wooed by the person that we're with, and sometimes we're just wooed by their family's desserts. It's normal. It's like just plain old normal. So one of my favorite desserts actually does come from my wife's side as well. Her aunt makes these amazing brownies, and they're not just regular brownies. They are regular brownies, but then they have a mint frosting that she only does at Christmas time. And I'm telling you, they're gone so fast, it's not even funny. So mint frosted brownies are one of my go-tos. I also am just a big fan of like the peanut butter cookie that has the Hershey Kiss in the middle. I don't know why. There's really nothing special about it other than I can eat one with like one bite. And so, I mean, amazing. Okay, next favorite thing, Catie. Your favorite childhood Christmas memory?
Okay. I've got some interesting ones. But let's see, favorite childhood memory. So when we were kids, my parents have quite a bit of land. And so we would, every year, we'd wake up and open our Christmas gifts, and then we would have breakfast and all that. But then we would literally spend the entire day outside sledding and riding snowmobiles. And like, just, that's all we did all day, just lived in snow stuff. So that was like years of my childhood, was just like being outside on a snowmobile, and that was life. So yeah. How about you?
Yeah, one of my favorite memories, I got the kind of one that we did every year was we would always get a pair of pajamas, and it was usually like long johns. I don't know why we wore long johns to bed, but that was like our thing growing up. So we would always put our long johns on, get a new pair of socks, put those on, maybe get a new sweater, put that on. So we just would put on all the things that we got. So we were just wearing tons of clothing that we just unwrapped. And then one Christmas, my parents got us this race car track, like a Hot Wheels track that was the size of the living room. And my dad and mom set it up all night long. And so there was this race track in the living room when we walked up that morning, and it was awesome. And we just thought it was the coolest thing. And we couldn't believe they stayed up doing it. So, and don't tell my kids, honestly, they're getting this tonight. We spent a few hours last night building an arcade basketball hoop in the basement. And then we locked the door so they couldn't see it. And so they don't know it's down there and it's already ready to go. But we're doing Christmas tonight with my wife's family, and they're going to get told there's the basketball hoop at your house inside. And so, yeah, it's going to be fun. It's like that dual arcade basketball hoop where you're competing, you know?
Yeah. I've been looking for one for the attic.
Yes, totally, right? Totally. I can point you to some good ones. We did a lot of research on which ones hold up. So check that out.
Awesome.
Okay. Third favorite thing, your favorite Christmas song.
I have favorite Advent songs, like "O Come Emmanuel." As far as Christmas song, I mean, "Joy to the World." I feel like that's a classic, and I'm a pretty joyful person in general. So anything that like "Joy to the World," like that's happy. That's
I love
good
it.
stuff.
I can hear you singing it. That is so awesome. Yes. My favorite, I got two. I love the Nat King Cole Christmas song, you know, the chestnuts roasted over an open fire. Like that. I mean, I know it's overplayed and I know we hear it in the department stores and whatnot, but like Nat King Cole is just like, he is Christmas. And then secondly, "Oh Holy Night" is like my favorite. I just love the solemnness of it. Love the beauty of it. Yes, it kind of ushers me into Christmas Eve and Christmas night. So
That's good.
yeah. All right. Fourth one. Your favorite ornament.
So it's not really an ornament, but it's on our tree. I could bring them down even. But anyway, Brad and I have these, they're like little stuffed bears, which is like super silly, but they like have magnets in their nose and they're like touching, so they're kissing. But we put it on the very top of our tree right below the star. And so then it's really like when Brad's putting the boys to bed right now, I sit there and look at our tree all the time because we give the boys an ornament every year that like resembles their year. And we have a bunch from when we got married, but these two little bears sit at the top. So our Christmas tree is like a story of the life that we're building. And it's just like this beautiful thing to look at every day. And so it all starts with these like goofy little bears that I don't even know where we got them, but they live on our tree at the very top. So yeah.
I love that. I love that your Christmas tree tells a story. I mean, that is like, we could do a whole thing on that. We should do like a whole podcast episode on like Christmas tree telling your story. I mean, that is just a cool idea. I would love to learn like how you thought of that idea and like where that all came from, because that is really cool. So if you're out there and you're like about to have a kid, like start telling your story through your Christmas tree. Go for it. My favorite ornament is, and it's one of the first ones we put on the tree. It's the ornament that my mom got everybody when my grandma passed away. And it's a little kind of in memory of kind of first Christmas since you've been gone. Similar to what we did with the longest night last night, where people were able to make an ornament for their tree. And so my grandma was kind of just the hub of the family. And we kind of all circled around the sun, even though she wasn't the one that drew attention to herself. It was just, she was kind of just our light. And so, putting that ornament on the tree is always really meaningful because, she may be gone, but she's definitely lives on with all of us in a lot of our traditions. And so, all right, number 5, favorite Christmas movie. So many good choices.
So many. I love The Grinch with Jim Carrey, and I always have. I think it came out when I was a kid, but I would watch that in July. Like, I love that movie. That's a great movie. What about you?
That's a good one. I mean, there's so many, right? Home Alone. I mean, people say Die Hard is a Christmas movie, right? And so you could pick Die Hard. Yep, absolutely. The Elf is amazing. Elf is always great. And then there's like more like adult-ish, movies like the rom-coms, you got The Holiday. My wife and I try to watch the movie The Family Stone every year. We just kind of get lost in the characters and the drama of it all. And I don't know, it's just kind of a beautiful Christmas movie. I mean, heavier themes, right? It's not meant for kids. So like, just be aware. I think my favorite though would either probably be Home Alone or Elf, just because, I mean, just timeless, make you laugh every time. You can watch them with your kids and they just die laughing. And it's so fun to watch kids laugh. I mean,
Yeah.
what's better than that? So
Yeah, we always watched like It's a Wonderful Life as kids growing up, and like
there you go.
I just like always feel so bad for him. So I don't love that movie because it just makes me feel bad. So I don't like it. I like happy movies.
There you go. There you go. And I'm sure that it kind of, you mentioned something that's really interesting is that a lot of our favorites come from in this really interesting developmental age of like middle school, high school, because when we are trying to understand who we are, so much of it is solidified at that time because we're finally aware of culture because we're in middle school, high school, and culture's kind of made for that generation because they're the ones talking their parents into spending money. And so much of our memories go back to those times. That's why I think for me, Home Alone, Elf, for you, the Grinch. I mean, there's just you can just see the generation of like, what's popping at that moment and
Mhm.
why it would stick. So yeah,
Love
pretty
it.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, sixth one. What is your favorite non-Christmas Eve or Christmas Day activity? So something that you don't do on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, but is still Christmas or Advent related.
Hmm. My like automatic response, and maybe that's just because I'm a mom of young kids, was like sleeping. My favorite, like I could just sleep all the time. But I think, let's see, when I think Christmas, I think of light and like lighting a candle and like just sitting. And so we always have a candle in this house going, and a lot of times it's like seasonal. I know you're a candle guy too, so I'll just point that out too. But yeah, I think just lighting that candle and admiring the light and what that symbolizes in our faith, and I think that's something we kind of do all year round. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I resonate with that. And mine's related to that. So my favorite activity is the Friday after Thanksgiving, we go cut down our Christmas tree, come back, put it up, and we just put lights on it, and then we leave it for like 2 or 3 weeks before we decorate it, just to kind of invite the lighting up of the dark, right? We're just going to sit in the Christmas tree light, like you said, light a candle, maybe have a lamp on to read, just try to calm the season down a little bit because we know it's about to get crazy busy and really fun and exciting. And so we try to enter into it as slowly as we can. And I just love the excitement of cutting down the tree, the smells, the feel, I don't even mind vacuuming up all the needles. Like, it's just great. Like, I love the whole thing.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
Last question, number 7. And this one's the most important.
Okay.
What is your favorite part of the Bible story of Christmas? So we're talking about like, Matthew chapter 1 and 2, or Luke chapter 1 and 2, the birth of Jesus. What is your favorite part of the biblical story of Christmas?
Mm-hmm. I think we kind of covered it right away, but I think since having kids, just the whole like Mary experience of the story is my favorite. Like, I don't know, after my first son was born, Lucas, like just having this moment of like thinking about what Mary had gone through. And my son Lucas is a New Year's Eve baby, and so a few years ago when he was a baby, I was very pregnant at Christmas time, and like that just really heightened Mary's experience for me in a way that I like never imagined. And so her willingness, and then how she like sings a song glorifying God, like that's my favorite part of that story, just because it resonates so deep in my spirit, just because of my experience of being a mom and what that's like. So yeah, what about you?
Oh, that's so beautiful, Catie. I absolutely love that. And I'd love to hear more about like your journey of pregnancy during that season. You know, with the idea of Advent being a season of waiting and anticipating. I mean, your season of Advent really started, 8 months before Christmas, 9 months
Right.
before Christmas, not
Yeah.
1 month before. And so,
Yeah.
it's
And
interesting how we frame
it
that.
lasted a lot longer than it was supposed to, too, I should say, with Lucas, like 10 days late. He was supposed to be born way before Christmas. And here's
Oh
just
man,
Katie nice and round. But anyway.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So I would say my favorite part of the Bible story, I mean, the story, the framing of Mary and how we talk about her, I think has been such an important thing to deconstruct and reconstruct and to try to really figure out how do we honor Mary in like the best possible way, knowing how important she is. I also just love like the idea of the angels showing up for the shepherds of all people. I mean, the more I've researched on shepherds, like the more at that time they were seen as kind of like it was almost like a punishment to have to go out into the fields. Like you got in trouble and we're like, okay, your punishment is you get to go spend 3 months with the sheep because you're going to smell like sheep. You're just going to be with the sheep and they're not fun to be around. And so when the angels show up and announce the birth of Jesus and the Christ to the shepherds, it's a way of God saying, hey, I'm inviting everybody into this, even the lowest person imaginable, even the one that is punished, even the one that's on the outside looking in, the one that smells bad and wouldn't be invited to dinner. Like that person is going to be the first one to witness my birth. And I think that is so powerful because I think that's the narrative that we as the Well, and I think the Methodists and Christians and all of us would want to hold to, is that like everybody is invited into this story. Everybody is included. Everybody should find home and rest and belonging here. And if the shepherds can, then we all can. And so, I just love that. That's kind of where the story, the evangelistic message started, right? Was with the shepherds proclaiming Christ's birth. And so, yeah, so many cool ways into the story. We're going to explore a bunch of them this coming week. So Catie, do you have a couple highlights for us coming up this week?
Yeah, there's so many great things in like children, youth, family ministry this week. So last Wednesday, we had this like crazy weather storm, right, on Wednesday, and that was supposed to be our youth Christmas party. So we postponed it. So this Wednesday, we'll have our youth Christmas party, and it's all set up already in the attic. We're going to be building like snowmen out of marshmallows. Logan's Lena is going to be there flipping pancakes. And there's like a snowball throwing contest, pin the store on the nativity. Like, it's going to be nuts. And then we're also going to have a message and actually talk about Jesus's birth and how important it is and all of that. But then the big moment this week is going to be the family Christmas Eve service. I cannot tell you how excited I am for this. The youth are going to be performing a skit, and we had rehearsal yesterday after church, and like watching them walk through it, they're going to be sharing the Christmas story. But I can guarantee you have never seen the Christmas story performed like this. It's going to be different. Like, we're going to have the main characters like Mary, Joseph, baby Jesus, like they'll be there, but it's going to be different. So even if you don't come in person to the family Christmas Eve service, make sure you watch the live stream at like 4:15 so you can at least catch what these youth are working on, because it's going to be awesome. And then we have kids that have recorded the telling of the story, and there's going to be glow sticks and lights and disco balls, and it's going to be insane. So I'm so pumped for the family Christmas Eve service. I can't even tell you. So yeah, that's what's coming up in kids, youth, family this week. And then our kids church is going to take off the next 2 weeks. So the 26th and that first Sunday in January, because my leaders need to have their Christmas time too. So yeah, so that's what we're up to, but it's great time to be in kids and youth and family at the Well.
Oh, I love it. And what time is that service again? The Christmas Eve one?
4:00. Yeah, 4:00. It's going to be lit, to use a term that's way outdated at this point, but
right. Outdated, trying to connect with youth culture a little bit. Nice work. Yeah. They're youth pastor. We appreciate you. That's so great.
All of Gen Z is probably cringing right now.
Right. And all the millennials are like, what word is that? Yeah. No. So no, that's wonderful. So we have a couple of other events going on for the non under middle school, right, type people. We have a lot of really fun stuff going on. So Christmas Eve, the 23rd at 6:30, Josh and I will be kind of leading a more contemporary kind of sweaters and carols and hanging out and talking about Christmas and our own traditions. It's going to be kind of like an interview format. So I'll kind of do a little talk, and then I'll interview Josh, and we'll talk about some of the songs we're going to sing and why they're meaningful to us. And then we're going to sing together. Should be a fun, interactive time. And then on Christmas Eve, as you mentioned, there's a 4:00 service that's really geared towards families and young ones. At 1:00, we're having our traditional service where we'll be serving communion. And so come out for the 1:00 service. Should be a really beautiful service. The choir's going to be there. Sherry's going to be speaking. And then at 9 p.m., so at 1:00 traditional, 4:00 family, and then at 9 p.m. we have our carols and candles service. And so come check out the 9 p.m. service. Sing, light a candle, sing Silent Night, usher in Christmas morning. It should be a really beautiful way to kind of round out our Christmas Eve. So however you want to connect with us, whether it's Christmas Eve or whether it's Christmas Eve in the 3 different services we have, we invite you to participate in the well. All these services will be live streamed, so you can check them out if you need to stay at home or would like to stay at home, or if you're like watching from Texas and you can't make the commute, we understand, but we would love for you to engage. So enjoy this week, everyone. Stay safe out there in the cold weather. Have a lot of fun. If you're not feeling well, hunker down, take your medicine, get COVID tested. We want to make sure everyone stays safe, especially with the new variant going around. And then continue to pray, because this time of year, as we talked about at the beginning, this time of year can be really difficult for families that have recently lost a loved one, or have experienced loss in the past of someone significant in their lives. And so just be in prayer for those who for Christmas isn't as, joyful as other parts of the year. And so we just want to keep in mind those. And then also those less fortunate. We recognize that while the rest of the world is excited, there's a lot of people that are hungry and going through really hard times. And so we want to do everything we can to serve our neighbors well, to love on those in need, and find ways to love and celebrate with our family and friends. So Merry Christmas to everybody, and we'll see you at church.